Howdy, IED. All right, so this is the real meat of the 1.3.4 lesson. All right, what we didn't get to in what I'm calling A, but we are going to get to in B here, okay? So this is where you really learn these goals right here, the loft feature, tapered extrude, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I'm looking forward to y'all learning this. So basically what they've done, and this is kind of cool, is they've chosen a real world thing. In fact, a lot of IED teachers get this exact, this is like a screwdriver case base. They get that for their class because when we're normally in class, we're using tools like that. And they want you essentially to reverse engineer it. Like we're going to figure out how this was designed, okay? And quite literally, the program we're using, the CAD software, right? You could send that to a manufacturer or put it in a certain machine, and it's going to generate a mold for this plastic base here. All right. So this is really cool. You'd be able to actually work with this if I had this in the classroom and like be measuring it and kind of figuring out how the person designed this thing. So they are telling you to estimate all necessary dimensions, and you know what? That's actually probably a good skill. So I am not going to necessarily tell you what numbers to use. You might see them quickly on my screen as I put them in. Um, yeah, uh, I think for this purpose, since we're not trying to make this like exactly, it's a really good skill to be able to estimate these kinds of things, okay? So we need to start by creating a new file. All right, so going to Fusion, got it open. I'm in my 1.3.4 folder, but what really matters is when I go to save it that I make sure that is true. We're going to call this 1.3.4 Fagan, and I'm going to call this, I think, number 15. Let me just double check that that is correct, and it is. All right, okay. So we're inside the folder, good. Click Save. All right, so we always start with a sketch. So let's do the bottom plane, okay? And let's see here. So build 2 tapered extrusions to start the case base to approximate the case's form, all right? You should be able to specify a taper angle when creating an extrude feature. Investigate the extrude tool in your CAD program to discover how to apply a taper angle to an extrusion. Right, so this is what they're saying. If you are not using Fusion, which you're allowed to use other programs, like I have a student using Blender right now, you should be able to do this. And they're saying, you know, figure out how to do it, okay? So create a Pentagon sketch, then extrude it with a taper angle of 45 degrees, all right, to make this kind of thing. All right, let's do that. So I'm gonna make a Pentagon, so pick Polygon from my Create like button here. All right, polygon, we're going to do, you can do either circumscribed or inscribed. I'm going to do circumscribed. I'm going to put it right in the middle, origin. And yeah, I'm just going to, well, I do need to change this to 5 sides, but then I want to pick some size. Sure, I can do that. Okay. And we are going to finish this sketch. Go to extrude. And what they're saying is you can taper, like put a taper angle, all right? So I'm gonna pick some height for it, all right? And we're gonna make it a taper angle, like they said, of 45 degrees, all right? I think my computer is frozen. All right, there we go. Now it kind of tapered the wrong direction from what I wanted. So let's try a negative, see what happens. Aha, that fixed it. All right, cool. All right, so we've got the first part done. Create another inward tapered extrusion from the top surface of the first extrusion, including a taper angle estimate appropriate for injection molding. Make sure the taper flares inward toward the top of the part. Okay. So yeah, this resource is really this is really interesting stuff. They go through kind of like what the process of injection molding is like, and I definitely recommend you checking it out at some point. I think it was really cool, but they're saying, yeah, a draft angle of 2 degrees to all vertical walls. That might be kind of what we need for this. I will be completely honest, I have not looked at this recently. So anyway, let's come back to where we were and the directions. I guess I got to push the back symbol here. Okay, so create another inward tapered extrusion. All right. So yeah, I think it's just going to be a very slight angle then, probably. In that case, let's do that. So I'm going to create another sketch right on top of this one by clicking that surface. All right. And then we're going to borrow the geometry, right? So we're going to go create and do this thing called project. All right. Which I could just hit the P button instead. And I want this whole thing projected. Perfect. Click OK. Now I've copied that onto my current sketch. So I'm going to kind of do this at an angle because I like to do these things at an angle. That is not how I like it. There we go. And we're going to extrude, finish the sketch, and do another extrusion of this guy. All right. But I'm going to change this to maybe a -2. And I'll pick a certain distance that it should go. And then say OK. And looks like we have something kind of like what they have here. Maybe theirs is a little taller. All right, so easy fix. You just look at the bottom of your screen, and it's got a history of everything you've done. You can right-click on there, or a two-finger click on the MacBook, do Edit Feature, and we'll just change that. All right, so maybe change that to be more like that. All right, so now let's compare. Yeah, looks a little closer. I'll change that a little bit more, and then I think we'll be good there. All right, so again, right-click, edit the feature, and maybe I'll try like that. Okay, cool. I think that is looking pretty good for us here. All right, so we have done number 15 and 16. Loft feature. Okay, so that's the next thing we'll learn. I will save that for the next video.